What's up, manga fans, and welcome back to another review of Bleach. This week's chapter 650, the Theatre Suicide Scene 4. So my predictions from last week were correct, and the younger girl version of Kanten, Kyoraku, has indeed made herself appear in this chapter. But this is something I expected most Bleach fans were, assuming as well. Everyone had predicted, as the appearance of Sakura no Suke herself was like, a dead giveaway that the paired version of her would appear later on. But it's not the appearance that was the shock in this chapter, it's the reveal of two things. Now, the first one is Nanao's Zanpaktou was revealed. The second is that her Zanpaktou was indeed the young girl version of Kanten Kyoraku. So that has just left a lot of theories and questions that need to be answered. I can tell the fandom are either saying two things: this is complete bullshit, more Kubo trash, or others are like, wow, okay, you need to explain to us, Kubo, flashback time. And that's kind of, I'm on that part. I want to see a flashback of, I say, Nanoa's mother. So before I get to that part, I want to address the elephant in the room. What the hell is that design, Kubo, for Lille? It's ridiculous. I mean, the top half looks like a Dragon Isle hybrid, and I'm getting kind of vibes from Avatar: The Last Airbender, or the owl for the library. And then the bottom half looks like Xerneas from Pokemon X. I mean, if you guys know that legendary horse-looking thing. I was just thinking, as ridiculous as it looks, I enjoy Kubo's creativity. His imagination is beyond ridiculous, but that's pretty much all it is to it. The ridiculousness of the design does not match the I'd say his power. The power is much more impressive, and it's been stated by Lille himself that he can't be killed by, depending on which translation you read, if his head's blown off or his throat is cut by Ryatsu, and basically he can just replenish himself. He claims he's, this is what despair looks like. And he is the invincible servant of God who is meant to destroy all sinners. So at this point, he looks like he's another being that can't be killed very easily, or claims to be immortal. And at this point, you could think, yeah, well, he pretty much can claim that he's a servant of God and some sort of deity, because to have your head cleanly blown off or severed off and come back and revive pretty much is like godlike status, in my opinion. And then obviously, with the forming of his arm and using that to shoot a ray of light out that slices half the city and pretty much causes tremendous amount of damage of explosion, is godlyhood, in my opinion. But at this point, I feel like Kubo might be giving clues away to defeating him. In the chapter, he constantly kept going on about his eyes drying up, and it looked like one of them was closing, kind of, and because they're owl eyes, it looks like one of them was blackened out. I'm not sure if that's just the design, but maybe the whole drying up and maybe his eyes will close, he won't be able to see. That will be the key to victory. Either way, we'll just have to wait and see. So Kyoraku manages to escape that last attack that pretty much sliced through half the city, despite his injuries. And Sakura no Suke pretty much pleads with him to escape, retreat. Lille has survived their Karamatsu Shinju, something that I'm pretty sure no other enemy has survived before. So that's pretty much left them with no options. And for her to say that, that pretty much says, we have to go, there's nothing we can do now. And she even tries to convince him that no one would blame him if he retreated, and then she kind of goads him into a sleep, saying, rest now, I'll take over, I'll promise we'll run away together. And he starts to close his eyes, and I'm thinking at this point Kyoraku has indeed given up. Whether he was going to die or just fall asleep is up for debate, but you can tell that was his last attack and his last chance of, let's say, fighting back, so he was going to give up. But luckily Nanao appears, wakes him up, and pretty much screams to him to bring out her Zanpaktou, despite the promise Kyoraku had made to her mother, and this completely shocks him. So Lille appears again with his rude interruptions, spouting more about God disappear in front of me. His attack missed because Shunhei takes Nanao and himself away just in the nick of time. So they're in a safe spot now, and Kyoraku queries Nanao about her knowledge about her mother and the promise. And he's like, so you knew about your mother? He's like, yes, I knew it. You knew all this time? Yes. So he pretty much says, well, I'm left with no choice but to return your Zanpaktou to you, Kyoraku. And you see the little girl exactly how she was designed in the the Zanpaktou Rebellion filler arc for the anime, standing behind her. So this makes me think, all this time this was her Zanpaktou, this wasn't actually Kyoraku's. So is this the reason why she's never used a Zanpaktou? I mean, she's never unsheathed it or drawn it out. We did get a glimpse of it back when I think Yamamoto was about to fight Kyoraku no Katake. She looked like she was about to draw out a Zanpaktou, but that could just be a plain katana without an Asuchi. Remember, Asuchis are what make a Zanpaktou. I'm pretty sure she could have just had a standard katana that is nothing special about it. So, and Kyoraku had the actual her Zanpaktou all this time. So I'm guessing whatever his relationship with Nanoa's mother was deep, maybe even I'd say romantic, and I assume that the Hiyori or kimono, whatever you call it, that he's wearing over his captain's Hori is hers, and it's something he most likely kept as a keepsake. And the promise he made to obviously Nanoa's mother was probably to protect Nanoa, whether it was to keep the Zanpaktou so she doesn't have to, as the ability is too much, maybe it's something like that, or it might be something a bit more deep, maybe protect her, keep the Zanpaktou so she never has to fight, something like that. And she's always been using Kido at this point, so it could be something like that. I'm just curious to see what the I'd say promises and why Kyoraku has it. But yeah, I just have nothing to complain about in this chapter. I enjoyed it. I don't think anyone could really complain about Kyoraku holding, Nanoa's Zanpaktou all this time, because this is nothing new. We've seen in the past other Shinigami have used other Zanpaktous. Kenpachi's done it, Tosen has done it, Ichigo's done it with Rukia, and this is when he wasn't even considered an actual Shinigami. This is when he was technically a human using Shinigami powers. His full brain created the Shihakusho, and he used basically a fake version of Rukia's Zanpaktou, whatever. So what I mean, this is plausible, but it's the reason for why he's using it is what I'm interested in, and the fact that it's so similar, because the blade looks exactly like Kyoraku's, and I'm assuming don't tell me we're gonna find out that's not even Kyoraku's blade, the one he's using himself, which I think wouldn't be the case. So I'm just really interested to see what is going to be said about this. Why is he holding on to Nanoa's and Zanpaktou? What is the reason for the promise that's made him hold on all this time? And right now it seems like he's broken that promise, he's given it back, so we can expect most likely in the next chapters a tag team, and hopefully Nanoa's mother's flashback, because I love flashbacks and I love when Kubo clears things up. So we can expect both of them, whichever one comes first. We'll just have to wait and see. But yeah, that is pretty much my take on the chapter. I think that is pretty much what I can think will happen. I hope it is as clear as possible for anyone watching. So yeah, that's it. I enjoyed this chapter. I like when Kubo does shocking things like this, and I can't wait for the next one. So if you guys enjoyed this chapter, or you're confused, or you have your own theories, drop them in the comment box below, and I'll speak to you guys next time. Take care.